You are listening to the Power of Inspiration and Awakening Radio with Julia Griffin. To master a higher frequency for a new state of mind. Once you walked in a forest of splendor in which everything you did and everything you thought was aligned. It is possible at this time to begin to return to the old knowledge. Intuitive healer and manifester Julia Griffin is here to talk about this unique time in history when all sentient beings, animals, plants, trees, and the earth are intent on creating this change. The wolves awakened her to the most incredible light, which opened gifts and brought knowledge that she longs to share. You are creators, and you are born to be creators of beauty, possibility, and joy. Join Julia on a journey into a beautiful and magical world where amazing possibilities exist. Let us help open the door. The Power of Inspiration and Awakening with Julia Griffin starts right now.
Hello, everyone. I'm Julia Griffin, and you're listening to The Power of Inspiration and Awakening on Transformation Talk Radio. Stay with us for the next hour, and let us help you experience a higher vibration and a new state of mind. Today's very special and very knowledgeable guest is Pamala Oslie. She's going to tell us about her new book, The Truth According to John, a metaphysical mystery, which is great. I've read it. We're also going to talk about auras, parallel universes, and quantum change. It is a really exciting show, so stay with us for the next hour. Welcome, Pam.
Hi, Julia. Great to see you.
Same here. Let me tell our audience about you. Pam has an incredible resume, so we're just going to hit the highlights. I know there's a lot more. She's an author, consultant, radio show host, professional psychic intuitive, and aura expert. She's appeared on ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, Fox, The Dr. Oz Show, The View, The Ricky Lake Show, Coast to Coast with George Noory, Hallmark's Home and Family, Gaiam TV with Lisa Garr, and many other television and radio shows. She's also been featured in many national magazines. Pam's written 4 successful and popular books, Life Colors, Love Colors, Infinite You, and Make Your Dreams Come True. And she has a very extensive clientele, including many celebrities. She's spoken at TEDx Talks, the International Forum on New Science, Fortune 500 companies, and many seminars for professionals in the psychology, education, health fields, and more. She was awarded the Holistic Transformational Leader of the Year Award by the Global Association of Holistic Psychotherapy and Coaching. Pam is the founder of www.auracolors.com, a site designed to help you create success, joy, and fulfillment in every area of your life. She developed lovecolors.com. The site's designed to help you find love and friendship by matching you with people who have compatible aura colors. And I think Pam did all of this by the time she was 25, right, Pam?
Yeah, because I'm only 26 now.
There you go.
Thank you, Julia.
Okay, so for listeners who aren't aware of your work, tell us a little bit about auras, the quantum field, and what you do.
Oh, good. Just all of it, huh? No.
Well, just a little bit, like
A
a
little
couple
bit.
sentences, and then we can get all excited and talk about your book.
There you go. Well, basically what I tell people I've learned how to do is expand my consciousness, which we're all capable of doing. It's just getting outside the box of who we think we are. So one of the skills that I have, or abilities that I have, and I believe it's natural, everyone can do it, is I can see and sense auras. And that's an electromagnetic energy field that radiates off of everything, especially living matter. But we're basically made of energy, so we're radiating energy. And I see it as auras that come off of people. And I know lots of things about them because of the colors in their aura. I've also learned how to do everything from alter physical reality, like bending spoons. I've been able to do remote viewing. Because of quantum physics, again, it's non-local mind. I've been able to explore and use to my benefit and other people's benefit parallel universes, which is also a real thing. It's called the multiverse, and it's basically quantum physics. So I've used all of those things to be able to change my life, to create everything that I want in my life, and then some. And I'm still on an expanded adventure to create and explore more. I want to see who we are and what we're capable of doing, because Julia gives us more fun, more freedom, more joy, and actually more love and more compassion.
That's true. And I think something I was thinking about is what people think of as miracles should really be something that's happening all the time for all of us with that expanded place and consciousness. And I thought about you before I was talking to you, and I thought it's very interesting because I think you see the soul colors in an aura, and you also know how they go into a practical life. I know for healing, I can see different auric colors that mean different things for me. And I thought we all have different ways of reading the same energy, but it's the same thing. But your specialty is really finding the soul and the colors, I think.
What I see, if you want to get into auras real quick, I see lots
Mhm.
of different bands of color out from people. And the one or two bands of color that are closest to the body, and you're right, everybody sees things differently, experiences things differently. We taste food differently, all of that. The two bands that are closest to the body are what I call the life colors. And those show what your soul decided to do in this particular lifetime, who you wanted to be, your life purpose, how you are with money, relationship, career directions you're going to be fulfilled in, potential health issues. Everything's revealed in those two layers of aura, of energy that comes off of you. The outer bands that I see change all the time, depending on what's going on with you at the time. So if somebody gets really angry, I see red flaring up, but that doesn't stay. And that's different than a red life color.
Right. And those are the temporary colors for people who are just beginning to see auras. You'll notice when people are angry, when they're sad, and there's certain colors that are associated with that. It makes me happy when you talk about it because I sort of feel like finding the direction that your soul wants is a kickoff in life. You know,
Yeah,
once you find that, you found your direction.
Yeah, Julia, I honestly believe that we decided to come here. We chose each one of our incarnations, and we had a theme of what we wanted to experience, learn, see other people that we've known before, their souls. And so we left breadcrumbs behind in case we came to this planet and forgot why we came here, which is so easy to do. So I believe we left breadcrumbs behind. The aura doesn't run you, it reflects back to you what you've chosen. So, and you're not limited by anything. So I see it in aura colors, in astrology, numerology, iridology, palmistry. We've just left clues behind to help us remember why we came here this time.
Right. And just like our auras, all those different fields are different, but they're still the same. They're a way of reading and finding evidence that are
Right.
unique for every person if you put it all together. So
Right.
let's go from there to your exciting new book. You've got a lot of new age mysteries in it: DNA, spontaneous manifestation, people who've overcome fear, which is an important thing to read about right now, in my opinion. So it's very timely. Tell us about it and how you came to write it.
This is my 5th book. I've written 4 other books and they've all been nonfiction. This is the first book that I've written that's fiction, although it's based on basically quantum physics and things that I've known how to do. Matter of fact, oddly enough, Julia, well, first of all, this story came through me in 4 days. I couldn't stop writing. It just basically channeled through me. So I couldn't stop writing. And then years later, after I wrote this, because I wrote it a long time ago, I finally have presented it out now as a book. The things that happen in the book, a lot of them happened to me in real life, including real names. My father was in the hospital, just like in the book. It was amazing how I wrote about it years before things started happening. So I explore higher consciousness. I do it in a fiction mystery story so people can start seeing, because when you mention quantum physics to most people, they just glaze
Right.
over like, ah. So I put it in a story so people could go, oh, that's how it works. Oh, that's how we do it. Oh, that's how you use this advanced information. So it's kind of fun. And I don't want to give too much of it away, but I can tell people the theme if they want. It's up to you.
Yeah. Tell us the theme. I'm not saying a lot because I want them to read it. I
Well,
keep thinking,
basically,
I want to tell them about this part, and then I think, no, let them find out.
yeah. Because we don't want to, because there's a lot of secrets and twists and turns in the story. So we don't want to give away too much of the
No.
surprises. But basically what happens is a scientist steals a piece of cloth out of a safe. And then we find out later it was from the Shroud of Turin, which is basically the cloth that they believe Christ was wrapped in, and it has his image or blood on it. We don't know for sure, but that's the theory. Anyway, he steals a piece of that, and then we find out that he's going to clone with it. And then 30 years after that, a mysterious man shows up in New York City and befriends a young writer and starts teaching her the secrets of the universe. That's basically what the story is about. Higher
And
consciousness.
Yeah, and there's a lot of it on refusing fear and deciding to manifest instead, which I think is, like something that everyone is facing right now. Are you going to feel afraid, or are you going to create something different?
Right.
But I was thinking that, you were thinking the same sorts of thoughts that I was, like if everyone would go into what they have with that and think about having it, so much would change. And I think for people who aren't familiar with the quantum field, I like to say, have you not experienced at least one miracle in your life? Something that shouldn't have happened, but it did, and it was good, and it changed the direction of your life. And everyone's experienced that at least once. But why can't we experience it all the time?
Yeah, well, we're just not conscious with it. So for people, if you want to get into that, the field, the quantum field, again, it's quantum physics. What they've discovered, I mean, they went into atoms and found out that that wasn't the smallest particle. They used to think that's what it was, that mass is basically just energy. And they kept going, okay, we went into cells with high powered microscopes, and then they found out there was nothing solid to the cell. There were atoms. So then they went into the atom thinking that was the smallest, found out there was nothing solid to the atom. They found subatomic particles, and now they go into the subatomic particles and they're still not finding anything solid to it. It's mostly space. It's mostly energy is what it is. So they can't even figure out why we're having the experience of a physical world when there's nothing physical to it. I like Einstein said, reality is an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. Okay, so anyway, so what they've noticed, and there's all kinds of experiments. The double slit experiment is one of the most powerful ones, where they've discovered that basically everything is just waves of energy and bits of information. Julia, all our technology right now is based on that. Our cell phones, the internet, satellites, it's all based on quantum physics, which is basically just information, bits of information and energy, waves of possibility, waves of probability. There's nothing solid about it. And what turns it into something solid is our consciousness. So when they say that space is the new frontier, it's like, no, space isn't the new frontier. Consciousness is. They're just exploring it. So the fact that you're saying you're starting to come up with these same feelings, the same knowledge, the same wisdom, the same understanding, starting to spread out there, that people are starting to go, well, let's look at this real quick. Years ago, they used to believe that the sun was a god riding a chariot across the sky, right? And they used to believe that the flat earth, we would fall off into a chasm of monsters, right? We can look at that now and go, really? How did they believe that? That's so silly. But in the future, they're going to look back at what we believe about physical reality and go, wow, how could you guys ever believe that? It's obvious that it's energy, and consciousness affects the energy and brings things into form or brings things into experience. That's where we're headed. That's where we're headed.
Well, this is something I wanted to relate to you and then get your input on it. I know it's the same thing that you're talking about, but months ago, I had a friend who was having a lot of dental work, and she texted and said, I really want to come by and see you, but I'm in agony. They can't figure out why. So I tried sending light, and she said, are you trying to heal me? I can't feel it. So I thought, okay, I'm going to come up with something different. I'm going to send light to the spaces between all the molecules in her mouth. And then like 10 minutes later, she said, oh, well, maybe it was working and I didn't know it, but I feel great now. Let's go have lunch.
That's it. That's what I explore in the new book too. Well, in my book, Infinite You, also the one prior to that, which is nonfiction, it really is, we're learning how to use energy. That's why the next wave in medical research and experience is going to be energy healing, as opposed to, drugs and surgery. It's going to be more about energy. It's funny, a lot of our movies, the writers of those TV shows and movies like Star Wars and Star Trek and all those, they bring in the consciousness of that. They're so far ahead of their time, and then they start developing those gadgets. Like, we didn't used to have cell phones before Star Trek. The little beam me up, Scotty. And I didn't know this, Julia. We didn't used to have sliding doors like at supermarkets and everything. Those
Right.
didn't exist before Star Trek, and I didn't know that. That's where
didn't
they
know that
first
either.
and they developed them. It's like, wow. So a lot of what we used to call science fiction is now science fact. And the same thing's happening with energy and consciousness and how we actually create our worlds and our lives and our physical bodies, our health, all of that. It's all related to energy and consciousness.
That's so exciting. I was thinking too about Ray Bradbury's Mars Chronicles. That's another thing that's happening now.
Right.
So I think people need to be imaginative about what we could possibly create and how we could heal and how we could move into that. I know you want to talk a little bit about this specific time and what's going on and what it's for.
Well, this time that we're in right now was created to help us stop running around and doing things just like busy on the busy, chaotic, stressful treadmill. It was created to get us to stop and to go inside and to feel in there. Who am I really? What am I here to do? What's going to make me happy? Am I fulfilled? And if not, how do I shift that? And a lot of people are hearing that. A lot of people are shifting. You see how many people are out there quitting their jobs? I'm being inundated with clients going, I don't want to go back to my job. I want to do something now that my heart and soul's calling me to do. I want to do something more meaningful. So that's why these times were created to give us that. Now, some people listened and went in there and did that and started making shifts because we're in a time of shift. And other people went into fear and resistance and chaos and blame and fear and panic. And so what I've been shown is that we're definitely in a shift, but we're only in the foothills of the shifts. What's coming is the Alps, is what they've shown me. Now, not to scare people, because it doesn't have to be scary resistant. They showed me that we've done this before. We went through the fall of the Roman Empire. Then we went into the Dark Ages. At that point, we had a Black Plague. We had a pandemic. And then we went into the Renaissance. And the people in the Dark Ages couldn't even have fathomed what it was going to look like in the Renaissance, right? We had Newtonian physics showed up. That wasn't there before. It wasn't a flat world anymore. It was a round Earth. The Earth wasn't the center of the galaxy anymore. The printing press came out. New philosophy, new literature, new art, all kinds of things showed up in that Renaissance. That you understand, people in the Dark Ages they thought that was the end of the world. That was, death and dying and dark. And all of a sudden not all of a sudden, back then it took hundreds of years with all those segments, but it's not taking that long anymore. Everything's sped up. So
it's very sped up right now.
Yeah. So what we're in is a shift. We're at the beginning of the shift. It's going to get bigger. And if people would listen to their intuition, if they would connect with their hearts and souls and something greater than us, then this transition, this new birth, this new renaissance we're headed for doesn't have to be chaotic, scary, dramatic. It can be people navigating it because they know who they are and they know what's going on. I've been told that on the other side of this shift of the Alps, life on this planet will never be the same again. And it's all positive. It's very much about energy and consciousness and grace and ease. And we're all doing what we came here to do. We didn't come here to be little worker slaves, little worker ants and struggle for money and health and poverty and unhappiness and depression. We didn't come here to do that. So where we're headed is a new renaissance. And so we're in that, and that's why people are here right now. That's why you're here. That's why I'm here. We came here for this time to experience this and to help with the shift, to help people understand what's going on, which is why you're doing what you're doing and why I'm doing what I'm doing. And hopefully people are feeling it. And we're all feeling that something's different.
Yeah. And I know because I talk to wolves and other animals that the earth herself is changing. And if we can go into that and we can feel how life is changing and write it in our mind so that we're seeing that it's good, it's a time to manifest things that make us happy, then that vibration can come through us. So think about the inner self or nature or the spaces in between things and how they respond to light. If you put your mind on that, you feel the peace and the calm and not the agitation or the fear, I think.
Yeah. Fear, there's either moving forward and knowing and trusting and being in love and in connection, or people go into fear. They don't like change, or they fear change because it feels like the unknown. But we
Mhm.
can't create new things if we don't go into the unknown. You can't create in the known. Not really. It's already created. So I like Einstein said, it's funny because the physicists that I study are beyond Einstein, because Einstein was resistant to some of the things in quantum physics,
Right.
right? Like
Yes.
like entanglement. He's like, it
Mhm.
freaked him out. Entanglement. It's like something on one end of the universe, one part of the universe could affect something on the other side of the universe instantaneously. He said, no, that's not possible. Nothing can travel faster than the speed of light. So he didn't like it. But Einstein did say imagination is more important than knowledge, because what we think we know can limit us. So that's how he came up with all his stuff, is by imagining, like traveling on a beam of light. So it's like, if people would just trust and move this forward, this doesn't, remember at the big, a long time ago, they'd say flatten the curve, flatten the curve. Now
Mhm.
there's no flatten the curve stuff. But the same thing that's happening with the opposites coming, we can flatten that and calm it down, or surf the wave, go
Mhm.
with the wave, go with the shift and help it happen, and not go into fear and resistance.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I think that's where we're going, or where a lot of people are going
Yeah,
for
we've
the
been
future.
asking for it. We've been asking for it. We know that things aren't great here. We know there's problems. And honestly, Julie, we can't solve things from the same mindset that created the problem in the first place. We have to shift our beliefs about ourselves, about reality, and about what's possible. Because otherwise it's too overwhelming. It's like, it would be daunting to change the poverty around the world, or starvation around the world, or like it's overwhelming how big that would be. But once we shift our understanding of how reality is created, then it's not so daunting. It's easy.
Yeah, I thought a long time ago, and it worked. I'm not out in the world so much now, but if I would see the same people that I could tell were obviously needy, I would just say better job, better clothes, more food. And I would watch, and it would happen in a month or two. I was
There
really
you go.
surprised.
That's it. That's it. That's part of the parallel universe discussion.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right. I'm pulling a different reality in that they already have there and just haven't claimed,
that's
essentially.
it. That's it. That's where we create, is in this present moment.
So we're about to go to break. And when we come back, we're going to talk a lot more about all these wonderful things, miracles, how you can use your mind and your imagination to change things, and how we're all working to create really a renaissance. Pamela Oslie is my wonderful guest today, and we'll be right back. Hello, everyone. I'm Julia Griffin at OneTrueSelf.com, and you're listening to The Power of Inspiration and Awakening, where you can find a higher vibration and a new state of mind. I'm talking with Pamela Oslie, and we're going to talk about the current energies, creating miracles, changing your mind about the way you think, parallel universes, and the quantum field. And I think that's a lot, but we'll do it. So, hey, Pam,
Hi,
why don't
Julie.
you tell them what your website is while we're talking?
Okay, my website is auracolors.com, AURA colors, COLORS.com.
And you have lots of, I think, like tests you can take to find out about your aura and other things like that.
Yeah, there's a free aura color quiz on there, and free videos. You go just take the quiz, you find out what your aura colors are. You can go watch all the free little videos or read about it. I've got courses, I've got my books, I've got so much content on that website about different things for people that my poor tech guy's like, stop, stop sending me more information to post.
Yes, I'm cutting mine down, but we know what's going to happen when I get the new website. I'm going to add all over again.
Yeah.
Yes, because that's just how it works. But they're really fun things to do. So if you're curious about your aura, I've sent lots of friends there, and they do the test, and they're excited enough to call me back immediately. So you'll have a lot of fun doing that. So how
Also, Julie, what's on my course? What's on there is the Quantum Leap course too. And
okay.
so everything we're going to be talking about, I have a full video course. It's like 7 hours of teaching people how to do everything we're talking about today.
So if people want to get started and move very quickly through this, that's a great way to begin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even though I have, thoughts in my mind, the first thing I'm coming to is part of this is believing in it, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? Yeah, usually, I think Wayne Dyer used to say, you'll see it when you believe it. It's not I'll believe it when I see it, but
Yeah.
some people's like, what? And then when they start seeing it, it's like in my courses, whatever, you're seeing people bending spoons, you're seeing people, I do meditations in there to help guide you through changes, things like that. So yeah, people have a hard time believing. Well, we've been so trained to believe a certain way about reality that shifting into the new way can be challenging for people. Can you imagine the first time somebody came back and went, "Hey guys, the world's not flat, it's round. You don't fall off." They're like, "Yeah, I don't think so." Or the first time someone said, "Hey, we can fly. We can get in this airplane and we can fly because now we understand aerodynamics." People go, "No way." I mean, there's still people that don't want to fly or go to the moon or go to Mars. Like, it doesn't look possible until enough people start doing it that we just accept it. It just becomes part of our reality.
And you can always start with little things, like whenever you go out to run errands, there are no lines, there are very few people, and there's almost no traffic. Or for me, for whatever reason, I had trouble turning left without a traffic light, and it took about 6 months. But now there is never, ever any traffic if I'm turning left without a light. And that is just fabulous. I mean, those little things like that are a good way to begin believing because they don't totally throw people off balance who haven't had these things happen to them their entire lives.
Yeah, yeah. I discuss sometimes this 5 levels of consciousness, where in level 1 consciousness, and Deepak Chopra uses the example of, let's say you want ice cream at
Mhm.
level 1, which is where most of us live and where we've been trained as reality. Level 1, if you want ice cream, you got to go out, you got to interview for a job, you got to get the job, then you got to work, then you finally get your paycheck, then you get in your car with, after you cash the paycheck, you get in your car, you drive to the ice cream store, and now you get ice cream, right? That's a lot of effort, a lot of work. That's level
Right.
1. Level 2, which is what you've been alluding to lately, is miracles or synchronicity. Level 2 is you have the desire for ice cream, and a friend stops by your house and goes, "Oh, I was just in the neighborhood. I just bought groceries and I bought some ice cream. Do you want to have some with me?" It's like, whoa, synchronicity. I was just having a desire for that and someone showed up with it. Level
Mhm.
3 consciousness, you have the desire for ice cream and you go to your freezer, open it up, and there's ice cream in there. You go, "I don't remember buying ice cream." Now we've all done level 1, level 2, and level 3. I've been doing more and more and more. You're talking
Mhm.
about that, more manifesting that way. Level 4 is you have the desire for ice cream and you open your hand and it's there. Now that's
Right.
very high level Christ consciousness, Buddha, whatever. It's very high
Mhm.
level master to do that. I haven't gotten that one down yet. I can manifest money in my purse
Right.
without looking at it, but in my hand, not quite there yet. Don't believe, haven't got my alignment there yet. Level
Right.
5 is you have the desire for ice cream, and then you realize you and the ice cream are one. It's all just energy. So it's like, well, I don't know if I want that because I want to taste the ice cream.
Right.
But discovered at that level, you can also, because you're one with it, that means it's already right here and you can experience it right here.
Mhm. And I think on level 3, I was having that with Christmas cooking because I was doing a big Chinese meal, and it was like I kept thinking, "I don't have this and I don't have that." And a voice in my mind would say, "Well, wait a few minutes and look in the cabinet again." And I would go, "It's right there. That's
Yep.
great."
Yep.
And
And level 2 and 3 are fun. I
mhm.
mean, I really love the things that I've manifested that way. It's like having a desire. I had a desire once. I went, wow, I really want to go to Maui. I really miss Maui. Well, I'm not scheduled to go there till the fall. Well, I really want to go now. Oh, well, I can't figure out how to do that, blah, blah, blah. And I started listening to Hawaiian music and everything. And the next day, a brand new client who I had just seen, called me up and said, "I really enjoyed that reading. I've got a condo in Maui. Do you want to go use it?" Yes. So
Right.
that's really fun. But we also enjoy level 1. I mean, sometimes I want to get in my car and drive to the beach and walk on the beach and eat ice cream. I want to do all that, but I don't want to feel like I'm stuck only doing that I have to do it the hard way.
Yeah, that's not exciting. And for people who can't manifest, I can at least do this for women. How often have you thought that you had your wallet or your pen with which to write or your checkbook in your purse and it's not there? And an hour later, you look in your purse and it's all there. We actually all materialize and dematerialize things constantly, but everybody pretends like it's not happening.
Yep. Just it was a mistake or a synchronicity or coincidence, yeah. But pay
I didn't
attention
see
for
it
it.
before. That's what everybody says. Where did it come from?
That's right.
So tell us a little bit about how mysticism and quantum physics blend. What would be that point?
Well, basically, as far as I'm concerned, they're blending together that what the mystics and spiritual teachers have been telling us for not decades, centuries, quantum physics is actually now proving is real,
Mhm.
that it's energy, that it's consciousness, that there's something greater to us than just our physical bodies, like non-local mind, which is quantum physics, basically says that our consciousness is beyond our brain and our body. That's how
Mhm.
I can locate missing persons. That's how I can do remote viewing. And that's how I can do psychic work, is because I can go outside of time. I can go to the past, present, future. I can see who someone, where they're headed for with marriage, career stuff. I can go outside of the logical brain. The brain is basically just a focusing mechanism for people, like our TV sets. If you
Right.
watch TV, the program that you're watching did not generate out of the TV. It generated, it's in the airwaves, and your TV is focusing and pulling it in. That's what we do with our consciousness. Our consciousness is creating things, and it's expansive, it's beyond our bodies. And then we focus to have a physical experience, a physical reality right here. So
So
that's just one way. Parallel universes is another one. I mean, there's so many things in energy and creating things with our mind and telekinesis, and all of that is quantum physics.
I think most people who are awake are probably already using those things. I was thinking when you were talking about the television, how interesting it is that we're inventing things to go along with what's happening with our consciousness.
Yeah, and it's weird to me. It's so strange to me. I feel like technology is showing us what we're capable of doing.
Mhm.
Anything we're creating in technology, we actually have the ability to do it ourselves. So, but people, for some reason, people can accept technology more than they can that we're doing it. Like
And then,
cell phones. Cell phones blow me away. I mean, I can talk in my little phone, and my voice in little bits and waves of information fly across the ethers and show up in my sister's phone in Europe. It's like,
right.
how did that happen? It went to her phone. It's my voice, and yet there's nothing attached. It's all just waves, bits of information and energy. So that is quantum physics, and but we're capable of doing that. That's why we can do telepathic communication,
Mhm.
and intuitive things. It's all based on the same thing.
Well, everyone has had a time when they thought about someone and they called, and that's a very low level back down to your level one. Two is more like when you're in a wonderful place and all your friends call you and tell you they feel wonderful. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then three would be we're all getting miracles along in that wonderful day. But I
Yep.
think everybody experiences it some of the time. And the mystical part is that there is a force that wants us to go there and be there and create and be imaginative.
Yeah, we're creating stories. We're story creators. I mean, that's why
Mhm.
we're adventurous, fun-loving, curious souls. And so we create lots of different experiences and movies and lifetimes because we're so curious about it. We're fun-loving. That's why we have so many TV stations now and programs. It's like we're like little entertainment people, right? But I feel like
Mhm.
what we're doing now is we're getting tired of it. We've
Yeah, it's getting
outgrown.
boring. Yeah.
Yeah, we've outgrown the same dramas and the same stories and the same suffering, whatever. So I feel like in mass or individually, depending on how you look at parallel universes, we're waking up. We're outgrowing how we've been doing it.
And so parallel universes are probably going to be the next thing that people explore and think about more, I would think, from what we're talking about.
Julie, you know what? It's the number one question that I get when I do talk shows or anything like that, is what are parallel universes and how do you use it? So remember way back when they didn't think we could fly until they realized they uncovered new aerodynamics. Aerodynamics was a principle that always existed. We just didn't realize it. So now with the understanding of aerodynamics, we can fly now, right? And we just take
Right.
it for granted. Parallel universes is also something, and again, if people want to go online and check out like the double slit experiment, especially I like Dr. Quantum, Fred Allen Wolf. He's got an animated thing that explains
Mhm.
really easily what the double slit experiment is. But basically what they see then is that there's not just one reality, that there's different parallel universes that are going on simultaneously. So I'm going to explain that in lay terms so people get the concept. Right now, in the room that you're in right now, there's at least 10 radio stations broadcasting around you, right?
Right.
You're not aware of it because you're not tuned into those radio waves, right? But if you go to your tuner or your TV, you can use either one, your television, your computer, whatever. If you go to your radio and turn it on to like 99.9, which is a frequency, now you're going to hear the music, the talk, the program that comes out of 99.9. Now, if you change it over to 107, now you're going to hear a different program, different music, different talk, and that becomes your reality. Now, 99.9 is still going on all around you, but you're not aware of it because you're not in that frequency. You're not tuned into that frequency. That's the way parallel universes are working. And it sounds science fiction, but remember, a lot of science fiction is now science fact. So I figured, I went, you know what, if that's a real thing, and Stephen Hawking was talking about it. I mean, David Deutsch is a world-renowned physicist talking about parallel universes, right? They know they're a real thing. Well, all right, if they're a real thing, we as beings should be able to use those for our benefit. So I experimented with it. And basically it's this strange, like there's a you that you're living today. There's another you that way back when decided to marry somebody you met in high school. There's another you that's got like 4
I
kids.
almost did.
See, every time, what they're saying is every time you make a choice, like it could be as simple as you chose to wear blue today instead of white, right?
Right.
Every time you make a choice, there's a you. This is how immense our souls are. There's a you that's split off, and one you is wearing blue today and the other you is wearing white today. And they're having different universes. They're having different experiences, although those are so close that it's hard to tell the difference.
Right.
I honestly believe that's how we experience deja vu, is those intersect again, right? It's like, oh, I feel like I've been here before. Anyway, so I experimented with it, Julia. This is one of my more profound ways of experimenting with it. Is I was in a universe, I totally fell head over heels in love with this guy. He was a musician. I fell in love with him. Oh my gosh, that's my guy. He wanted nothing to do with me. Like, no, you're blonde. I don't like blondes. I like dark hair. I don't want a relationship. Oh, I mean, and I was devastated, right? He actually, I live in Santa Barbara, the West Coast. He moved to the East Coast to go be with the band out there, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, how could I? And then I realized, quantum physics, parallel universes. Now, if that's real, that means there's actually a universe where we are together, right? So I noticed, I'm going to call it universe one. I noticed in universe one, I had a belief that I wasn't lovable, that I wasn't attractive, that he didn't love me, that no one was going to want me. And I realized in universe one, I was carrying beliefs that had me in that frequency. By the way, Julia, all my girlfriends in that universe too were complaining, there's no good guys out there. I want to get married. I want to have a family. I can't meet anyone. That was universe one. So I did a meditation and I experienced myself going into different universes. I did it visually because I'm very visual, but I imagined going into universe number 2, and I looked around, I went, no, he's still on the East Coast, and I would feel bad if I tried to bring him back, so I'm not going to do that. This is not the universe I need to be in. I did the same thing in 3. No, he's really happy there. I would feel guilty. So I hadn't aligned with changing my beliefs about things. I went into what I'm going to call universe 5. And in universe 5, it was so real, Julia. I could feel it. I could smell it. I could feel the sun. I could feel the grass on my feet. It was a real universe. It was just as real as the one I walked out of number 1. And in that universe, I saw him giving notice to the band he was with, breaking up with whatever girl he was seeing back there. Excuse me. Then going to Iowa to see his meditating friends, going to Los Angeles to see his rock and roll friends, and coming back to Santa Barbara to be with me. Because in that universe, I felt lovable. I felt like he loved me. He missed me. We were going to be together. And it felt very real, just as real as this one. I knew I was in a different experience. And so 2 weeks later now, he had been gone for 2 years, by the way, when I did this. Hadn't seen him for 2 years. So 2 weeks later, I called him. Now, why wouldn't I? Because I was in a universe where we were in love, right? It's not like, oh, you were stalking him. No, no, no. I was in a universe where I knew he loved me. So I went, how's it going? And he said, well, 2 weeks ago, I gave notice to the band. I stopped seeing this girl I was seeing. It was not feeling right. I'm going to go to Iowa. I'm going to go to Los Angeles, and I'm coming back to Santa Barbara. And in May, it'll be 39 years we've been
Wow.
hanging together.
That's
Okay, that's how
amazing.
long ago this was. Now, the interesting thing is when I went into universe number 5, not only did he come back to be with me, all my girlfriends were suddenly in relationships and
Mhm.
engaged and getting married. And I wanted to go up to each one of them and go, in universe 1, you were single and complaining about it, but I didn't feel like I could say it to people back then because they'd think I was crazy. But now I'm talking about it openly because science is finally, talking about it more and more people are accepting it and more people are open to that type of energy. But I do it you guys, we do it all the time. Every time you make a choice, you have split off. One of you went one way, another of you is having a different experience. And so we do it all the time. We're just not conscious of it. So what I'm teaching people how to do is be conscious about your beliefs, your thoughts, which trigger your emotions, and emotions are energy in motion. So it's that energy that aligns you. I was going to say draws you, but it aligns you with that frequency. It's like changing the channel on your radio or your TV. It matches you up with a different frequency, which they can now call it the law of attraction. It's a frequency and it gives you a completely different reality. It's how I believe people are healed. That way they have spontaneous remission. So it's you can call it miraculous. It's because miracles are basically natural. It's just things we don't understand how it happened because we can't put it together with our
Let me ask a question. Like a lot of times people will say, well, when I work with you more, or I take class, everything goes better. But what they don't understand is that they're actually pulling in an entire world based on their emotions and thoughts. Let's call it universe 1. And when they go up to 3 or 4, everything seems to fall into place because of the vibrations, the frequencies, and what your emotions and feelings that you're experiencing.
Yeah. And one of the things I tell people when they go, how do you do it? How do you do it? Tell a different story. So watch in universe 1, if I had stayed there, I would have felt like I had to overcome something. I would have had to struggle with it. I would have to change him or change something there. I didn't have to change anything there. I dropped it. I stopped believing in that story. I stopped telling that story. I literally dropped it and moved into a different frequency where it was already there. I didn't have to overcome anything. I didn't have to overcome my childhood issues. I didn't have to do any of that. I dropped the story. I stopped believing in that universe and started believing that, which is why they say wherever you put your energy expands.
Right.
Same thing, it's energy. So the number one thing I tell people is stop telling your story and stop believing in that story and start using your imagination, your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions to create another story. And then it shows up for you. Well, it's not like you're having to create it's there. Your consciousness has already created it because you already had the imagination, the vision, the seeing it, the beliefs in it, and then it's there.
You're
And
just sticking with it. You're staying with it. So how do your past lives play in with the parallel universe paradigm?
It's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. Other lives, I call them other lives because there's no such thing as time over there. It's a construct that we made up here. All those lives are happening simultaneously. So that's how expansive your soul is. It's having lots of different experiences simultaneously. And you can tap into those other lives. People have experienced, like, I feel like I've been here before. I feel like I feel drawn to that. You're tapping into a part of your soul that's already having that life. And I tell people when they go, well, I've imagined, but it's still not working. So what I tell people is you won't always get what you want, but you will always get what you believe.
Right.
So if you don't have what you want, take a look at where your beliefs are. You might have some fears or some, doubts that you could really have that, or you're not worthy, or you can't do it. So look at your beliefs, not what you want.
Right. So I dream a lot about probably some of my closer friends who work very hard on their higher consciousness. And a lot of the time it's things like, I don't know, we're both in different castles, but we're talking to each other every morning. Like when we open the window, this incredible stream of thought and energy goes back and forth.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem to really pertain to the lifetime I'm in, but the feeling makes us closer. Like the other person almost invariably feels it.
Yeah. Yeah. We're very telepathic beings, and that's again, quantum physics. It's all entangled. It's all one. It's all one consciousness, all one energy. And we're just like the big ocean, and we're just certain waves that pop up.
Right. So I'm catching a wave in those dreams with the same person. We're both catching the same wave, probably.
Well, the consciousness is changing. We are discovering new things. And back the first Renaissance, it was all based on Newtonian physics.
Right.
The next Renaissance that we're going to is based on quantum physics.
Or maybe even something beyond that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's something bigger than even what we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's to help us get there, is understanding its
Yeah.
energy and
Yeah,
consciousness.
this is
of
where
our
we
souls.
go to get there.
Yeah.
And people are writing about it. I was going to mention a book that was fun to read. It was nothing like what you wrote, but it's A Day Like This, where a lady goes between all the time living in 2 or 3 different parallel universes, for lack of a better word. And then they're all combined and she's happy at the end. And I thought, well, that was interesting.
Oh, that's cool. Well, you know what? I'm telling you, a lot of our shows, our movies, movies have been telling us about parallel universes. We've got Somewhere in Time, Back to the Future. That one of my favorites is a movie called Yesterday. There's Sliding Doors, there's Frequency. They've been putting out movies for a while now about parallel universes. It's just, you know, that's where it starts. We tell these new stories and then people start going, and then we make them real.
Yeah, and I can't remember the name of it. It was a Leonardo DiCaprio movie where he had to teach himself to dream to make the reality that he wanted work out. Everything that's happening
Something
in the
like
dream.
Inception or something like that.
That was an interesting one too.
Yeah.
So for people who are trying to move into what we're talking about, what are a few things they can do? I mean, like right now, as far as opening your mind and going into a place where you feel better.
Well, you brought it up earlier. We have to believe it's possible. People are, boy, we get addicted to our stories and our emotions. No, but you don't understand, it's real. This is real. And I go, well, you know, argue for your limitations and they're yours. So one is for people to get quiet and listen to their souls. Okay. And then stop telling their story, stop being attached to their story, and really get clear on what your soul is really desiring, not necessarily ego, even though we're not leaving the ego out. The ego's not bad. It just has limited perception. So not talking about it, getting attached to it, believing that it's possible for you to change your life, which is why I share it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. It's like, it's a natural thing. So being still, believing it's possible, listening to your intuition, your soul, letting go of your story, stop talking about it, stop being attached to the drama. A lot of people are attached to suffering, and because then people won't expect much, or it's their story, so they need attention. And it's not that I don't have compassion. Believe me, we've all done it. We've all been there. We've all suffered. So letting go of that. And you know, one of the biggest things I feel like we need to shift out of is victim consciousness.
Agreed.
Victim consciousness. Instead of creating, we're creators. We're creators. So to stop believing in that, even people that are out there suffering, it's like we look at them like they're victims, but possibly their soul chose something for the adventure. Just like people go, well, why would somebody choose to starve to death or be in a war-torn place? I go, hey, you know what? There are people that choose war movies and monster movies and horror movies, and I don't understand that either, but they're getting something out of it. So their soul might have chosen something like that to have the experience, or to help other people have compassion. It doesn't mean we don't have compassion. It means we get out of that victim consciousness and start educating ourselves that we're creators, because that's what can help those people. We suffer, one, if we've forgotten who we are, or two, we want the experience of it on a soul level to see what it feels like. So it's like, oh, I see what it feels like to do that. We're adventurous souls. We want to have experiences and feelings and emotions and, you know, taste. We want to have all that stuff.
Right. And I think too, something that I figured out about being a victim is I tell myself either I misunderstood the energy at the time, or other people did, or I couldn't find the right action. And that's not particularly right or wrong. It's just a part of myself I need to understand.
Right. It's very much about our beliefs. I did write a book called Make Your Dreams Come True. And that book is all about uncovering the hidden beliefs that are in there, your subconscious beliefs. Showing, I filled it with games and processes, made it fun so that people can see what they are. And then I show you how to change them to something that can help change your life, because you let go of these limited beliefs and now you've got empowered beliefs.
And they want to change, and the universe wants us to change them. And another game I play is, okay, I'll let go of this and bring back in who I was before all this happened. And I do it for a few days and you can actually feel it start to happen.
Yep. Yep.
There's no loss in that sense.
Our consciousness is so powerful. It's all choice. You can heal yourself with that way. That's why the placebo effect works. It's people believe that those sugar pills heal them, and then they do.
So, Pam, go ahead and tell us about your website, upcoming activities, or any way that you would like to communicate with our listeners.
Okay, so my website is auracolors.com, auracolors.com. And all my books, you can see all my books. Here's the deal, Julia. I am now retiring from doing private sessions. I have been seeing 6 to 8 people a day since 1983. So I'm going into a
You've
shift.
balanced it out. You're
I'm
done.
going into a shift. There's new adventures, but all my courses are still there. All my books are still there. The blogs, writings. I've created so much content to help people, if they're interested, at least explore those types of things. So that's my latest thing, is my new book, The Truth According
That's
to
great.
Young.
And they can buy that on Amazon, on Kindle, I think.
And you can
Okay.
go to my website. It'll show you all my books on there, or you can go to any of the online bookstores, or it's in some bookstores. I just don't know if there's any bookstores out there anymore.
None of us know. And if they are this week, will they be there next week? We don't
That's
know.
right. That's right.
It's a time of a lot of change, and there's always instability with that, but opportunity accompanies instability, actually.
Exactly right. You're exactly right. It's a time of shift, but the key is to listen inside and choose your thoughts and beliefs and emotions so you don't go into fear.
Thank you. And thank you for saying that, so everyone can really get that into their mind. So you can find me at onetrueself.com, onetrueself.com. You can sign up for my weekly newsletter for energetic weather, different tips on spirituality and finding a higher vibration. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and come back to the Power of Inspiration Awakening, where you can experience a higher vibration and a new state of mind. Please join me on the 2nd and 4th Wednesdays of every month, 12 Eastern, 11 Central, and 9 a.m. Pacific. Have a great week. Come up with some creative, imaginative things. Dream big. And I'll see you back here next time.
Thank you for listening to the Power of Inspiration and Awakening Radio with Julia Griffin, to master a higher frequency for a new state of mind. Join us next time as Julia takes us deeper into the memory of the moments of light where transcendence and enlightenment emerge. The memory of the jewel of consciousness is always lived within you, to tap into waves of energy and create huge changes by imagining the beauty of the vision and desires that are hidden in the heart. Learn to find your way back to nature, beauty, and your own heart, which holds the secrets of your existence and future. To discover more about Julia's adventures, animal communication, and the teachings she brings to every show, visit onetrueself.com. That's onetrueself.com. That's ONE, trueself.com.